What's going on, my fellow wealth creators? Matty Guys here. So doing another video while just before I leave the Fast Start Forum by Whole Life Mastermind, put on by Mr. Tom Wall. Huge shout out. I'm going to be doing a testimonial and a video on that, doing a more breakdown. Highly recommend it. Really, really good stuff. But before we depart, I mean, it's just pretty. Got to take advantage of the scenery here, man, and do at least a little bit of content. And what I wanted to do in this video is just give an overview of what I'm calling my Millennial Wealth Creator Blueprint. This is kind of the direction I'm going to be going with the channel. A lot more, the content will be focused more around this blueprint and how different asset classes fit into that blueprint. Obviously, particularly dividend paying whole life insurance. I'm still a huge fan of that. It's been a game changer in my life, infinite banking concept and all that stuff. But I'm going to start incorporating a lot more of what I'm doing that's working for me right now around this blueprint. I want to do a quick overview on it because I think like I was having this conversation with Chris Kirkpatrick last night. We actually he told me about the 5 pillars that, because he's actually I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about it, but you know he's writing books and stuff like that, and we were talking about the 5 pillars that he discussed, and it was actually in alignment with the Millennial Wealth Creator Blueprint. Very similar principles. His is a lot more in depth, but very, very similar principles, right? So what is the Millennial Wealth Creator Blueprint? Why am I putting it together? Well, I've just been doing a lot of reflecting for a while now, just thinking about, one, what's working for me, and that's one of the reasons I started this channel, was to share what's working for me as far as building wealth goes, but also I started thinking about what's been working for me, and had I known what I know now, would I have messed my life up as bad as I did? Would I have made as many mistakes as I made had I had this type of blueprint? And the answer is a resounding no. I would probably not have made the same mistakes, because when I got to the point where I just like drove my life into the ground financially, it was really bad. I lost, lost my house to foreclosure. I had tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt. Was almost homeless. Thank God that I have good people in my life, but I literally had no money. I was just like as broke as you can get. At 30 years old, living back with my mom and no car, no nothing, just like feeling like the biggest loser on planet Earth. And I think to myself, if I had this blueprint, would I have made the same mistakes? And I really don't think I would have. And so I've just started to package this together, and the more I contemplate it, the more I start putting it on paper, it's like it's crazy how it's the complete opposite of what we're taught to do with regards to building wealth by the system, right? What are we usually taught by the system? Go to school, get a job, get tens of thousands of dollars of student loan debt that you pay for the next 30, 40 years, sometimes the rest of your life. I know people that still have student loans in their 60s and 70s. Like, it's freaking crazy, dude. And then what do? We get the job, max out our 401k, and then the 401k, the market is supposed to build all the wealth for us, and by the time you're 65, you're going to have $1 million or $2 million, whatever, and then you'll live your golden years. Well, that's not happening for a lot of people, and it's a very scarcity for me. That's like a really scarcity mindset way of building wealth, and it's very passive as well. So Millennial Wealth Creator Blueprint. So right now there's three pillars to it. There's going to be I'm going to be adding more to it, but right now where I'm at with it is step 1 is cash flow and income. Step 2 is building the vault. Step 3 is capital deployment. I almost lost it there for a second. All right, that's kind of the growth phase, right? So pillar number 1, I think like everything is so backwards, like what we're taught. Okay, we're taught that we max out our tax qualified plans, whatever. The market's going to build wealth to eventually create and replace our income, right? But I don't know. This seems like really basic to me. Why not focus on creating as much income and cash flow as we possibly can right now? And I'm not talking about like getting incremental raises and promotions and stuff like that at your job. You should be doing that. I'm talking about building multiple streams of passive income using what we already know. So I'm going to give you an example. All right, if you go to school to, I don't know, pick any profession, it really doesn't matter. All right, you now have expertise, you have knowledge. And actually, even if you don't go to school, maybe you learn like I do and I just dive into YouTube and learn whatever the heck I want, whatever. But everybody's good at something. Like, everybody makes a living doing something. Why not share that expertise, share that knowledge with the rest of the world as well through some type of content platform, and this is sometimes where I lose people, which is bizarre, because you don't have to get on video. I mean, you can start a blog, whatever. I like YouTube, but if you're already doing the things that you're good at throughout the day, why not share that journey? That is what changed my life, guys. That's what saved me, is when I started my YouTube channel, my marketing channel, for my marketing agency many years ago. I was just documenting my journey. Like, this is what I'm doing with Facebook ads and, funnels and stuff like that. This is the automation that I put together. These are the results that I got. And I'm just sharing my journey. And that turned into a multiple six-figure per year business over time. It didn't do it overnight, but the money started coming in and eventually just kind of took off. And it was all because I was just sharing my journey. That's it, sharing what was working for me. And it completely changed my life. Right? And so, like I said, you don't have to do a YouTube channel, but maybe you're a good writer. Maybe you start a podcast. Do something to share your expertise, because that can lead to multiple streams of income outside of your job, right? And having a job is not an excuse not to do it. So I think focusing on, here's the other thing about pillar one here, creating income and starting like content channels and packaging your expertise and stuff like that, is I learned this from Garrett Gunderson. It's the concept of turning into intellectual property into an income stream. And what that means is essentially taking your expertise, packaging it, and sharing it with the world and creating income out of it. So maybe you sell a course. Maybe you sell consulting services. Maybe you promote other people's products. Maybe, that's a huge part of my income every month, and it's passive, is the products that I promoted that aren't mine generate revenue every single month on autopilot, right? So maybe you promote other people's products that have worked for you, and just think about like sharing your expertise, but also maybe not even, it doesn't even just have to be sharing expertise. It could be sharing your journey to solve a specific problem in your life right now. Maybe you're trying to lose weight. Maybe you're trying to, be better with your kids, be more present. Maybe you're working on depression. Like whatever problem you're trying to solve, you're not the only one that has the problem. And that's an opportunity for you to share your journey, what's working for you, and that eventually builds an audience. Once you start building an audience, now you can start monetizing that. And there's so many different ways to do it. And I think that it's a phenomenal way to focus on building income first. And here's why this is pillar number one, is because we can't make really sound strategic moves with our money, investments with our money, if we're not making enough money. Like the number of people that have to take hardship withdrawals and stuff like that from investment accounts, tax qualified plans and stuff, it's like really sad. And it's because you're investing money that before you have a really strong financial foundation, before you have lots of income coming in, right? Where, if there's fluctuations in the job market or whatever, or in your business, you're good. You have multiple streams of income and you can weather those storms, right? But people, the other thing is like people aren't investing enough money into these things. Like $200-300 a month into a 401k, while I will agree that it's better than nothing, is that really going to move the needle, guys? Like, I commend you for putting some money aside for the future, but I'm sorry, unless you're able to contribute a significant amount of money to that thing, it's not going to move the needle. I would argue that, and this is not financial or investment advice, just giving my opinion, sharing my journey, I would argue that $200-300 a month that you're putting into a 401k that you're not going to be able to touch for another 30 years, or depending on how old you are, that would be better invested in yourself. Invest inward before you invest outward. And what I mean by that is investing in yourself to learn new skills or get better at what you do so that you can get that pay raise or whatever, start that side hustle, right? Invest in yourself in new skills or getting better at what you currently do, so that you can, instead of putting $200 a month into a 401k, now you could put $2,000 a month into a 401k. Now we're talking about actually moving the needle for your financial future here, right? So, but you have to be able to contribute enough money to these things in order for it to have a big enough, like a significant impact on wealth. We can only do that if we make money, right? Now, that's pillar number one. Pillar number two is building your vault. It's basically saving, right? So when I started to come out of my financial dilemma, my agency started doing really good, and I started making good money, at least for me. And I saved most of it. Like, my expenses did not increase with my income. As my income increased, my expenses stayed pretty level. And I was just stacking cash, dude, just stacking it. And eventually I got to the point, it's like, okay, I've got a pretty decent pile of money here. I need to do something with it. Obviously, we need to put our money to work. We need it to build a really good financial foundation first. Before I ever started investing in things, we'll get to that in a second, I was focused on where can I build a financial foundation so that if there's major fluctuations in my income, in my business, whatever, I have this really strong foundation, and it's going to help me accelerate the wealth building process for me. So I started with high yield CDs, treasury bills, because interest rates were pretty high. But that's when I started learning about dividend paying whole life insurance and infinite banking. I was like, it just made sense to me. It was perfect for me. And so I moved a large portion of my safe money and my emergency fund, opportunity money, whatever, into these policies. I have 2 policies, and they've been an absolute game changer. I talk about whole life insurance all the time in my policies. You can check that out later. But I have this really strong financial foundation that allows me to make far better and more strategic moves. And if I want to take a little bit more risk, in pillar number 3, I can do that because of that foundation, right? But people were taught to just dump our money into the market and not touch it for 30, 40 years. But without having a strong financial foundation in place first, and without having multiple streams of income, or at least significantly increasing our income to actually make an impact with those investments. So pillar number 3 is the long-term, like capital deployment. This is where the investing actually starts to take place, because we have our income streams, we have our financial foundation. Now we can, in my opinion, this is the place where we can start to take more risk. For me, I'm not a huge fan of the stock market, particularly right now. I think it's, I don't like buying at the highs when it comes to the market. I'm a millennial, so I like Bitcoin, and I have a little bit of like altcoins and stuff like that, but the main thing is Bitcoin. I'm very bullish on it, and we can have a conversation about that, whether you agree with it or not. That's fine. I'm going to do more content on it, why I choose Bitcoin versus the S&P 500. I mean, the numbers don't lie. It just knocks the socks off of the S&P 500, but that's, again, this is not specific financial advice or anything. I'm not telling you to go buy Bitcoin, whatever. I'm saying, for me, again, just what is working for me and what's in alignment with my goals, my values and beliefs around money. Bitcoin is the bucket of money, the capital deployment that I'm not going to touch for a very, very, very long time. I'm just going to you dollar cost average into it, and I have ways of earning Bitcoin as well, and I just let that ride for 30, 40 years, just like, and along with some of the other cryptocurrencies that I have. And that's the long-term play. All right, now within the Millennial Wealth Creator Blueprint, there's also 3 buckets of money. You have your safe money, you have your active money, and you have your growth money. All right, the safe money is the dividend paying whole life insurance, right? Because that is guaranteed to grow every single year. These companies have never missed a dividend payment. You get your death benefit, living benefits like long-term care protection and stuff like that. And it's just a really safe place to put money. These are the most financially sound and strongest companies in the world. It's no accident that banks of all institutions buy billions and billions and billions of dollars of this thing, whole life insurance, from these mutually owned life insurance companies. All right, so we have our safe money. Our active money, for me anyways, is real estate. So this is where the infinite banking concept starts to come in, is when I'm borrowing against my policies and then I'm lending it out. So I borrow at 6, let's call it, and then I lend it out at 13% plus a point. That's active money. Those are active deals that I'm doing on a regular basis. Now, you don't have to do private money lending. You can do whatever type of real estate you want. You don't even have to do real estate. But this is where we start to actively deploy capital into specific types of deals that we do over and over and over again, if possible. You don't have to do that. Again, this is just my blueprint. And then bucket number 3 is the growth. The growth bucket, that would be the long-term investments that you're not going to touch for decades to come. And for me, that's Bitcoin right now. All right, so anyways, I wanted to do an overview of the Millennial Wealth Creator Blueprint because I'm going to be doing a lot more content about that. at least centered around that, and how I'm incorporating all of these different assets and vehicles and strategies, whatever, into that blueprint. Because guys, this is what's worked for me, anyways, and it's the complete opposite of what we're taught growing up, and it's unfortunately a lot of the times, it's why we make a lot of mistakes. So, anyways, hope that was helpful, and I will talk to you guys soon. Matty Ice is up.